the countries in East Africa, I guess in Nigeria as well, trying to protect their currency. The Kenyan shilling has been under an incredible amount of pressure over the last month or so, dropping to a low of about 107 against the dollar. So the CBK intervened with a very aggressive monetary stance, raising their rates to 550 basis points. To the 16.5 mark. That seems to have stabilised currencies. The Kenyan shilling now trading around about 96.
So 10 shillings stronger than we saw it at its all-time record low.
Absolutely. So the whole thrust is allowing investors to get a bit more comfortable about that region. Kenya, there's been a lot of question marks in Kenya regarding the macro picture, really just making investors a little bit nervous. So investors we'll see starting to drift back into those markets now.
Are you seeing foreign investor participation increasing?
We have seen some good investment from the foreigners coming in, particularly for the heavyweights, the Safaricom, East African Breweries, KCB. We haven't really seen them too much in the fixed income markets yet. It's a little bit early, but I think we will start seeing foreigners coming in for the fixed income side of things.
From a volumes perspective, if you just look at volumes in Zimbabwe, turnover there really dismal, sitting at what, $500,000 on some days. At this time last year, or in 2008 rather, it was sitting at $3 million per day. Some are saying this could even threaten the survival of the stockbroking industry there. Absolutely.
The average turnover for Zimbabwe has been around about $1.4 million a day over the last year. Last month it dropped to about $800,000 and recently we've seen it sub $500,000. Not healthy for that market. Still indigenization fears moving across into the banking sector. Investors pretty much staying away at the moment.
Talking about indigenization, it's interesting with all the concerns around these empowerment laws. You've got the likes of Tiger Brands, which in fact increased its stake in Nat Foods last week, taking that to 37.45%, even paying a premium for these shares. So clearly seeing the potential in the Zimbabwean economy and showing confidence in its growth story.
Absolutely, paying a nice premium of 146. The shares trading around 85 to 90. So that's quite a substantial premium to the market value. So really raising their stake to 38% in line, same stake as the Inscore has now, allowing Inscore now to focus on its core business and moving away from the millers. So I think it's a good move and it's a sign of confidence for Zimbabwe.
Another positive sign out of the Zimbabwean economy is that the volume in the lager side of the things has increased. You've got SAB Miller's latest report showing that Delta's lager volumes were up by some 30% year on year in the first half of the year. We've got results coming out of that company and shareholders seem to be positioning themselves in the stock ahead of those.
That is correct. Delta share price was 66 not long ago. It's rallied up to around about 76 now, so it looks like investors are positioning themselves ahead of some positive results for Delta.
You're anticipating some strong results there at Tanzania Breweries. In the meantime, over in Tanzania, the IPO has now commenced from that end. If you just look at their numbers, I mean, revenue growth for 2011 was 20%, profit before tax up some 28%, strong margins for that company. Investors and your clients interested in buying into this company?
We've seen a lot of interest for Tanzanian breweries because the stock is so illiquid, and so what we're seeing is now with investors want to jump onto this EABL selling down its 20% stake, so investors are pretty keen on picking up that stake. Unfortunately, it looks like the Tanzanians will get the first stake on that, followed by the East African community. Don't know how much stock there'll be available for foreign investors on that particular offer.
Because they are trying to target the local East African community for that.
That is correct. Tanzania always tends to look after its citizens and follows that with the East African community, and unfortunately foreigners tend to be at the back of the queue for these type of offers.
The growth story for the beer market appears to be a common theme across sub-Saharan Africa. Just looking at Zambia's numbers there, beer consumption up by 31% in 2011. It grew by some 15% in 2010. Zambian breweries also an attractive investment opportunity with 90% of the beer output in this market. Just tell us a little bit of your thoughts on the investment case for Zambian breweries.
Yes, also nice technical and marketing assistance from South African breweries. It's a very solid company. It's producing sort of consistent results, and its rights issue is coming up now. So raising around about $72 million on the rights issue. Unfortunately, only about 13% of the free float available. SAB owning the rest of the stock. So the investors will only be able to put up about $9 million in total for this rights issue. So we expect it to be fully subscribed and a popular issue.